So last class we had started off with Exim Bank. We discussed the introduction, why and what is the purpose and how was it established, what are the 5 different objectives of Exim Bank. Today we'll be discussing about the various functions of Exim Bank. Number 1 is finance for exports and imports. As the name itself says, Exim Bank, that means it is a specialized bank that only focuses on exporters and importers finance. Okay, any other common man going and approaching Exim Bank will not help him, but only if you're an importer or an exporter, Exim Bank will provide assistance. So Exim Bank helps by providing finance for exports and imports of goods as well as services from India. So one of the primary function Exim Bank is what? Provide financial assistance. Whom does it provide? Exporters and importers. Point number 2, contribution to capital. Companies engaged in foreign trade while raising capital may issue shares which may be partly financed by Exim Bank. Now, as I told last class, if you remember, special economic zones, export oriented zones, okay, you remember that? These are locations in which all the industries or companies situated in this particular zone are meant to be exclusively for export purpose. Whatever services you render or whatever products you're going to manufacture are all meant to be shipped across the border. That means you are exporting it to other countries. That's the meaning of special economic zones or export oriented zones. So what is a special feature about these zones or industries are that the taxes that they have to pay will be much lesser, or sometimes government says you don't even have to pay tax. It can be tax nil. Okay, they may not even have to pay taxes because they're just focusing on exporting and bringing in more of foreign currency into the country and thereby improving the economy of our India, right? So therefore government focuses on also contributing to capital in the form of Exim Bank. So these companies or industries which have been set up solely for the purpose of export, when they establish the company, every other company under the Companies Act will have to have what? Share capital, right? Equity capital, debenture capital, you remember that? So these kinds of capital, when these foreign trade oriented industries are established, then such capital, who's going to be underwriting it or subscribing to it? A part of it is financed by whom? Exim Bank. So that way we know that industries will not lack any kind of financial assistance. So they know the capital has been subscribed by or financed by the Exim Bank itself. Okay, so that gives also a good support for the company. Now let's say there is a foreign importer who wants to import goods from India. So he just takes a look at this company's profile. Okay, when did the company start? How is the company balance sheet? Definitely one thing, if you are an investor and if you want to have a business relationship with a particular company, you first need to look into their balance sheet. Correct? How strong is their capital is what every person looks at. So if there is, let's say if there is an importer from Japan who looks at the company situated in our country who's exclusively for export purpose, when they see the share capital has been subscribed by Exim Bank, so that gives a boost and that gives also an encouragement for the importers to, yes, this company is backed up by the Exim Bank, which is a apex institution in India. Okay, so that gives the confidence to have a business or a trade relationship with our export companies or industries. Understood? So that's called as contribution to capital. Either the Exim Bank can purchase the shares, okay, being the shareholders of the company, or debentures as well. Okay, so either ways it's going to form the capital of the company. Number 3, it also facilitates the funding of import and export from countries other than India. So if let's say there are importers or exporters who are having trade relationship with India, or there are Indians in other country who need some financial assistance that is involving into trade, okay, even in that case Exim Bank is ready to facilitate the funding, okay, from other countries other than India. That means if there is an Indian who is working in Japan, right, and trying to export goods or import goods or render some kind of services, and that person or that company lacks finance, who can come to the rescue? Exim Bank. Okay, so that's the meaning of facilitating funding. Point number 4, consultancy services. So thus far we have only seen in terms of finance. Now what do you mean by consultancy? The Exim Bank also provides technical, administrative and other assistance to exporters. Export projects are analyzed by the Exim Bank to check their feasibility. Now let's understand what is the meaning of feasibility. Feasibility means it's just a pilot check. Now, even before you launch anything or even before you establish anything, you do a pilot study. For an example, even if a engineer is even before they first maybe like let's say manufactured or made a airplane, correct, even before you start officially flying high, you first do a test check, correct, a short distance you do a test check by seeing that how well the plane can fly or what is the capacity, fuel capacity, etc, correct. Same thing even for a product or a commodity. Exim Bank is going to check the feasibility, whether or not this particular company or this particular business idea is going to work in reality. Maybe in the paperwork it's going to look good, but in reality, will it work? Keeping in view, what is it? The criteria for checking the feasibility is technical and administrative aspects. Okay, technically, if you're setting up a certain institution in, let's say, one or the other location in India, is that location feasible, right? Is there network issues over there? Where can you provide, or is there employability opportunity in that location? Okay, administrative, that means can people uh, have a good administrative control over the company? Can people in the management of that company make wise decisions about the capital, about funding, about working capital, about procurement of fixed assets, about payment of various bills, etc. Okay, so here Exim Bank is going to check the feasibility based on this criteria. So when it finds the project viable, that means it finds it is feasible, it is good enough to go ahead and establish the business on the above grounds. What are the grounds? Technical, administrative, finance, etc. It will not hesitate to fund it. So once Exim Bank finds certain company or an industry very feasible and promising in terms of making enough profits or bringing, developing the Indian economy, then Exim Bank will be ready to provide financial assistance or ready to fund such industries or companies. Is that clear? So that's the 4th point, consultancy services. Number 5, Exim Bank provides pre and post shipment credit facility in Indian rupees and foreign currencies. It provides access to finance at a manufacturing stage, enabling exporters to purchase raw materials and other inputs. Now, if there is a company that has a skill in manufacturing or producing certain goods or commodities, but they do not have enough money to even purchase the raw materials. So there comes the concept of pre and post shipment credit facility. Okay, now this credit facility can be even given in Indian rupees, or as I said, if Indian or in foreign currency, both are available. What is pre-shipment? So even before you start to ship, the goods from your country to another country from the root level. That means, what is the root level for a business? Procure raw material, then convert it into finished goods with all the other inputs, and then manufacture it or label it or promote it and then ship it. Understood? That's called as pre-shipment process. Now, what is post-shipment process? Post-shipment is once you are able to put your goods on board. That means you're able to ship the goods. Then there is shipment charges, octroi charges, delivery charges, transport charges, packaging charges, and the goods have to reach safely to the other country and unpack it, and those whoever has imported our goods have to pay the amount correctly to our exporter. This is called the post shipment process. Okay, so here what does Exim Bank do in this purpose? Exim Bank provides credit facility in both cases. Pre-shipment you need it, they will provide it. Post-shipment you need it, also Exim Bank provides it. Exim Bank may consider extending credit for the period exceeding. So usually pre or post shipment credit is only provided for 180 days. It is only provided for 180 days. Now, in case there is this business transaction that might require more than 180 days of credit. So, from case to case basis and subjects, that time period may extend. That's what the line says. Exim Bank may consider extending. Extending means what? Let's say if it's 180 days, but the company needs 200 days of pre-shipment credit. Understand? So, based on the case of the business or based on what is the subject of the business, Exim Bank may even extend the time period for providing the credit for pre and post shipment facility. Number 6, finance on deferred basis. Now, what does the mean deferred? Deferred means later. Okay, LATER. Deferred means later. Exim Bank provides finance on deferred basis for importing capital equipment and other machinery. As I told, there are one of the things that India lacks is technicality. Correct? Technical machines or updated machines, etc., is something that we lack. Right? There's something that we do not have. So we try to import such updated machinery equipments. It can be hospital equipments or it can be manufacturing equipment, etc. But the cost of capital equipment in foreign countries will be more than the Indian and the Indian importer cannot afford to pay the lump sum payment in foreign exchange. First of all, the equipment is very high priced, and you think the Indian importer can afford it? No. Even if you can, and he has to afford it in what rupees? Is it in Indian rupees? No. In the respective foreign currency, he has to make one shot payment. That's called as lump sum payment. If it is of $1,000, he has to pay $1,000 in one shot. Understand? So what does Exim Bank do here? Exim Bank comes to rescue of such exporters or importers. It provides guarantee on behalf of the importer. So Exim Bank stands as what? A guarantee on behalf of the importer, so that exporter knows in case I send my machine to India and what if the importer does not pay back the money in time to me, and it's not a small amount. If you're talking about an updated machine or an equipment, definitely it's going to crore $1 million rupees, okay, millions of dollars. So it's definitely a question of trust whether or not this person will pay back. Therefore, Exim Bank comes to the rescue of such Indian importers, stands as a guarantee and says you can import the machine or you can send the machine to our country. I will guarantee you that this Indian importer will pay you back the amount on installment basis. Is that clear? On installment basis. Or the bank itself may pay in bulk to the foreign exporter and receive installment payments from the Indian importer. So here we see that Either the bank will stand as a guarantee and let the importer pay time in, time out, installment basis the price of the equipment, or Exim Bank, it says Exim Bank, I am going to pay the full amount to the importer. Okay, I am going to pay the complete amount to the owner of the machine. So how does the Exim Bank recover that amount it paid? Exim Bank can recover the amount by installment basis from the importer. Is that clear? Let's say A is the importer and B is the exporter, and in between them stands as a guarantee Exim Bank. First case is Exim Bank stands as a guarantee, and A through Exim Bank guarantee will pay installment basis to directly B. Second case is Exim Bank will pay the complete price or the cost of the machine to B and close the account. Exim Bank will recover that amount from A on installment basis. So A does not have to pay B now because the account is settled. A will pay to Exim Bank directly on installment payments. Is that clear? So these are the 6 different important functions of Exim Bank. We discussed about the finance to exports and imports, contribution to capital, facilitate funding for other countries as well, consultancy services, pre and post shipment credit facility, and finance on deferred basis. So this completes your topic, Exim Bank. We are left with one more topic of the chapter called as mutual funds.